आंसुओं और आहों की रुदाद सुन, रब्बे कौनैन मेरी भी फरियाद सुन। आज मैं दहर में सबसे मजलूम हूँ, हक पे होते हुए हक से महरूम हूँ। आज मैं दहर में सबसे मजलूम हूँ, हक पे होते हुए हक से महरूम हूँ। शाम खूरंग हूँ, सुबह मग़मूम हूँ, जिस पे चलते हैं खंजर वो हल्क़ूम हूँ। आंसुओं और आहों की रुदाद सुन, रब्बे कौन।
يا صاحب الهم إن الهم منفرج أبشر بخير فإن الفارج الله. يا صاحب الهم إن الهم منفرج.
October 2001, in response to the humanitarian crisis triggered by conflict in Afghanistan, Ummah Welfare Trust sent a convoy of over 20 trucks filled with 700 tons of flour, 370 tons of rice, 200 tons of pulses and 160 tons of ghee. 8,000 pairs of clothing were distributed along with 46,000 pairs of shoes. Over £2 million has been spent since then on various projects. The invasion of Iraq led to the deaths of over 1 million people. Following the invasion, Ummah Welfare Trust responded immediately. 4,000 people received food handouts in the Fallujah crisis. In the same forsaken city, the Al-Amal Medical Center was established. In 3 years, the center treated over 100,000 people.
May I take this opportunity to send special thanks to a great charity, it is the Ummah Welfare Trust.
Al Yarmouk Hospital was supplied with free medical equipment. Families, widows and orphans were sponsored in Ramadi, Mosul, Baghdad and Fallujah. Yearly iftar programs were provided for many residents of Al-Anbar province, including the prisoners of Abu Ghraib prison. Almost £1 million has been spent in these efforts. "15 years of conflict has accounted for over 100,000 Muslim lives and the disappearance of 30,000 more. The Trust has tried to restore some of their lost dignity by sponsoring widows and orphans. Prosthetic limbs were distributed to victims of mines and unexploded devices. Food, medical supplies and clothing and Qurans have been distributed. £250,000 have been spent since. In response to the Asian tsunami in 2004, Ummah Welfare Trust spent £500,000 on emergency relief efforts. Locals in Banda Aceh were given fishing boats, ambulances and water tankers. A medical clinic was also established.
This is Muhammad Qasim.
Muhammad Qasim
is helping the distribution effort of Ummah Welfare Trust in the communities. Alhamdulillah. Is it benefiting the people? How do they feel when
Of course, they feel very happy.
In response to the conflict in Afghanistan and the ever-increasing refugee crisis, Ummah Welfare Trust realised that many orphans of this Ummah were in great danger. Their lives and, more importantly, their Iman were at risk. Action was required. In 2003, Ummah Welfare Trust purchased 5 acres of land in the district of Nowshera, Pakistan, for the sum of £30,000. The aim was to create the Ummah Children Academy, an institute whose sole aim was to provide food, shelter and the best education to the suffering orphans of this Ummah.
We're here in Nowshera at the moment at the Ummah Children Academy. This is it just behind me here. Inshallah, when it's complete, it's going to cater for 1,000 orphans. The total cost of this is £1.3 million. It also includes a mosque of 1,500 people. There's 8 blocks, including accommodation, hifz block, dining, masjid, admin block.
The Pakistan earthquake in 2005 claimed the lives of 70,000 people. Temporary shelters were provided to 6,500 people. Food packages were distributed to over 75,000 people. 50,000 people were treated in makeshift medical camps. Permanent homes were constructed for 6,000 people. In a unique twinning project, UK-based masjids funded the reconstruction of damaged masjids in the disaster-affected areas. 20 masjids were rebuilt in this scheme, catering for the spiritual needs of 3,000 people. £1.5 million was spent in total.
Ummah Welfare Trust की तरफ से ईद के इस मौके पर तकरीबन 4,000 बच्चों के लिए कपड़ों का खिलौने और स्वीट वगैरह का निजाम बनाया गया।
हमको कपड़े भी मिले, खिलौने भी मिले, आप खुश ईद मना रहे हैं।
The drought that gripped the Horn of Africa did not spare the people of Ethiopia. Ummah Welfare Trust responded to the needs of the starving people by providing food aid. The relief operations benefited 20,000 people.
maxay idin keeneen ku soo celi
saliid bay noo keeneen bur bay noo keeneen sonkor bay noo keeneen.
Severe drought and locust invasions have condemned poor Muslims in Niger to starvation, displacement and disease. In 2005, Ummah Welfare Trust dispatched a team to distribute food packs to 50,000 people. In 2010, 105 tons of maize along with 105 tons of millet was distributed across 100 villages in the province of Dosso. Close to £1 million has been spent in this country.
You can see here that the Imam Sahib is serving the children drinks and biscuits. I think this is only drinks and biscuits they will have today. As I said before, this motivates the children to come to the mosque. You can see that don't even have enough cups to go around. They are sharing the cups, 3, 4, 1 cup.
In 2007, 20 million people in the states of Assam, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh were affected by flash floods. In response, Ummah Welfare Trust constructed houses in Botad. Food, shelter, medical and water aid programs were delivered in Bihar. In 2009, £352,000 was spent on emergency relief following further floods. In the last year alone, 100 wells have been constructed in Bihar. Schools have been established throughout the state of Rajasthan, and cataract operations are taking place every month for the residents of Gujarat. Shuaib Adat and Iqbal Rawat, Ummah Welfare Trust representatives, travelled to India to assess the work carried out on the ground. Almost £1 million has been spent to aid Ummah Welfare Trust efforts in India. The devastating Cyclone Sidr killed 10,000 people. Ummah Welfare Trust immediately launched relief operations providing food aid to thousands of families, constructing over 300 houses and reconstructing several masjids. Unemployed breadwinners were provided with rickshaws and livestock. £600,000 was spent in response to the devastation caused by the disaster. Despite the disruptive political fallout, Ummah Welfare Trust has been operating in the area since 2005 and responded immediately to Cyclone Sidr. Food packets, water purification tablets and temporary aid kits were provided to over 50,000 people. Within a few months, hundreds of houses, several schools and 12 masjids were reconstructed. In the aftermath of the cyclone, Ummah Welfare Trust established an orphanage which today, alhamdulillah, supports more than 150 orphans in addition to supporting the teachers and the elderly. Over £500,000 has been spent in Burma. Drought and the never-ending conflict have made life impossible for the people of Somalia. Ummah Welfare Trust has been active on the ground since 2008. The trust has funded the Baidoa Medical Centre, one of the largest in the city, which has been treating thousands of women and children every year. An orphanage looking after 150 orphans has been set up in the same city. A water engine was installed in the Johar district, which today pumps water daily to 8,000 inhabitants. Thousands of goats have also been distributed to farmers in response to the loss of livestock. Ongoing suffering of the Palestinian people has now gone on for over 60 years. Over the past 7 years, Ummah Welfare Trust has allocated £3 million to these beleaguered people. Following the blockade of Gaza in 2008, the Trust responded by sending 60 tons of flour, fuel, medical kits and food parcels to thousands of desperate families. And then came the bombing of Gaza in January 2009. Food parcels and life-saving medical equipment were immediately delivered. Hospitals were supplied with medical aid and power generators worth £250,000. $1,000 cash grants were given out to 350 poor families.
Alhamdulillah, these families who suffered in the day and in the night, we send our thanks and our sincere appreciation for Ummah Welfare Trust in the United Kingdom for this generous support, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward everyone donated for these families and for all families in the world. We say to them, Jazakum Allahu khayran.
In response to the massive refugee crisis, one of the largest in recent years, Ummah Welfare Trust distributed food to 330,000 people, which included thousands of widows and orphans. Over £1 million has been spent to alleviate their suffering. In June 2010, catastrophic floods in Pakistan affected more than 20 million people. More than 1,900 lives were lost and 1.9 million homes were damaged. This disaster affected more people than the Asian tsunami, Cyclone Sidr and the earthquakes of Kashmir and Haiti combined. Ummah Welfare Trust mobilised resources on the first day of the disaster. 13 camps were set up for 18,000 refugees and a further 10 medical camps treated 17,000 people. 1.2 million people were provided with hot meals daily. 240,000 disabled people were given Ramadan food packages. In the second phase of relief efforts, 20,000 winter survival kits were handed out to protect families from freezing conditions. 10,000 families also received kitchen utensils. In the current phase, Ummah Welfare Trust are rebuilding 20 villages. The appeal is ongoing as many still remain in great difficulty. In March 2011, civil and political strife in Libya led to a massive humanitarian crisis. Ummah Welfare Trust travelled across eastern Libya to assess the needs on the ground and deliver crucial supplies.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We are on our way, inshallah, to Libya with all the medical supplies, all the food, to deliver it by ourselves to the people of Libya, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, today, because of your generosity, the Ummah Children Academy stands complete as a centre of excellence and as a source of hope for Muslims suffering throughout the world. 1,000 orphans from Afghanistan, Pakistan and Kashmir will reside here, in an environment where they are loved and made to feel safe.
لك يا حبيب الله وهدي تحياتي بلغ الحنين مداه فمتى اللقاء ياتي
जो ख्वाब हम देख रहे थे तो आज उसकी ताबीर हम अपनी आंखों से जो देख रहे हैं तो हम सारे साथी जितने भी हैं यकीनन कि हमारा तो तस्वर या ख्याल में भी नहीं था कि एक दिन ऐसा भी आएगा आज हम एक यानी दुनिया की जन्नत में बैठे हुए हैं
Alhamdulillah, in the last 10 years, Ummah Welfare Trust has received a total of £28 million from your generosity. Not a single penny has been deducted from this amount for administration or fundraising purposes. Moreover, the Trust Administration Fund has donated £250,000 to widows and orphans.
الله